Sophia, I hope my hair gets a stamp of approval from you today. I know it was kind of ratchet the other day. And I put on lip balm. I'm really doing my best to impress you. That's what I'm saying. Okay, we are in Exodus 5. So remember that God has sent Moses to Pharaoh, the king, to tell him to let the Hebrew slaves go. And he's sent Moses' brother Aaron with him because Moses was afraid to go by himself and was kind of insecure about how he talks. So Aaron is going to go with him and help him. It helps to understand here that at this time, people didn't really have an idea of one God who sort of oversees the entire world. Gods were sort of local and regional. So Egyptians had their gods, and Hebrews had their gods, and Midianites would have their gods. Everybody kind of had their own gods, and your God was seen as sort of tribal and local, like his job was just to take care of you and your group, and the other people's gods might be real. And so part of that's why when Moses is going to say, our God told us this, and Pharaoh's going to be like, I don't know your God. So, chapter 5. Afterward, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Let my people go, so that they may hold a festival to me in the desert." Pharaoh said, "Who is the Lord that I should obey him and let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go." Then they said, "The God of the Hebrews has met with us. Now let us take a 3-day journey into the desert to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God, or he may strike us with plagues or with the sword." But the king of Egypt said, "Moses and Aaron, why are you taking the people away from their labor? Get back to your work." Then Pharaoh said, "Look, the people of the land are now numerous, and you are stopping them from working." That same day, Pharaoh gave this order to the slave drivers and foremen in charge of the people: "You are no longer to supply the people with straw for making bricks. Let them go and gather their own straw. But require them to make the same number of bricks as before. Don't reduce the quota. They are lazy. That is why they are crying out, 'Let us go and sacrifice to our God.' Make the work harder for the men so that they keep working and pay no attention to lies." Then the slave drivers and the foremen went out and said to the people, "This is what Pharaoh says: I will not give you any more straw. Go and get your own straw wherever you can find it, but your work will not be reduced at all." So the people scattered all over Egypt to gather stubble to use for straw. The slave drivers kept pressing them, saying, "Complete the work required of you for each day, just as when you had straw." The Israelite foremen appointed by Pharaoh's slave drivers were beaten and were asked, "Why didn't you meet your quota of bricks yesterday or today as before?" Then the Israelite foreman went and appealed to Pharaoh. "Why have you treated your servants this way? Your servants are given no straw, yet we are told, 'Make bricks.' Your servants are being beaten, but the fault is with your own people." Pharaoh said, "Lazy, that's what you are, lazy. That is why you keep saying, 'Let us go and sacrifice to the Lord.' Now get to work. You will not be given any straw, yet you must produce your full quota of bricks." The Israelite foremen realized they were in trouble when they were told, "You are not to reduce the number of bricks required of you for each day." When they left Pharaoh, they found Moses and Aaron waiting to meet them, and they said, "May the Lord look upon you and judge you. You have made us a stench to Pharaoh and his officials and have put a sword in their hand to kill us." So notice what happens. What Pharaoh does, because he is not going to let the people go, and he's angry that they've even asked. He says, "You're just being lazy. You don't want to do the work." Bricks back then were made with mud and straw, and you needed the straw because the straw gave the bricks shape and helped to hold the mud together. Otherwise, you just have, mud. And then you would dry them in the sun, and that would make bricks. If you don't have the straw, it's almost impossible to make the bricks. So up until then, it was like you had a quota. So it was like, let's say you have to make 100 bricks a day, but we're going to give you the materials. Here's the mud, here's the straw, make your 100 bricks. Now they're saying, we're not going to give you the straw. Here's extra work for you, because now you have to go find your own straw. But we still want those 100 bricks. Don't think that just because now you have extra work to do in finding the straw, we only need 80 bricks from you. We still want the full 100 bricks. What Pharaoh is hoping is that it's going to turn the people against Pharaoh, or against Moses and Aaron, because they're going to be like, "You're making our lives harder. You've just created more work for us." And it's kind of working, right? the foremen, the Hebrews who are sort of in charge of some of the other Hebrews, are being beaten because they're not meeting their quotas. They're not able to come up with the same amount of straw. And when they go to Pharaoh and he says, I'm not really super sympathetic. I think you guys are just being lazy. And they go back to Moses and Aaron and they say, they're going to kill us. This is your fault. So we're kind of seeing like that can be how power operates sometimes. If it sees people coming together and demanding freedom and justice, it tries to divide them and say, this thing is making, we're going to make your lives work, but it's not worse, but it's not us. It's those guys over there. If they just pipe down and be quiet, that, it wouldn't be a problem. If you think about what you know about the civil rights movement, we saw a lot of the same kind of things, right? People would demand, their rights and that they be treated as full citizens and as full human beings. And then, let's say they would get fired from their jobs and their employers would say, hey, look, I like you. You're a good employee, but these other civil rights rabble rousers out here are just causing trouble, and so I don't want to be in the middle of that, and I'm not going to keep employing you. The hope was that the regular people who are just, by and large, trying to get through their day, right? Go to their jobs, feed their families, would turn on the civil rights workers and say, hey, look, yeah, it'd be great to have full rights, but honestly, I can't eat air, so I'm going to need you guys to dial it down a little bit so I can have my job. That was a strategy that the people in power were using to oppress Black people. We're seeing the same thing here, so it's not a new thing. This is something that people in power have always known how to do, which is, I'm going to make your life harder as a way of trying to make you turn against each other. Because if I can make you turn against each other and start arguing and fighting amongst yourselves, you'll never be able to get it together enough to really, do anything significant. We will see if that actually works here.